Joining us now, great to welcome as part of our book talk segment today, man who's really had a successful book. The QBQ book came out about a few years ago. He's got the new companion workbook out now called the QBQ Workbook, a hands-on tool for practicing personal accountability at work and in life. I'm joined today by John G. Miller from out in the beautiful city of Denver, Colorado. And John, good to talk with you. How are you?
Doug, I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, first of all, congratulations on the success of the original book, QBQ. I mean, I know every author that writes a book hopes it's going to explode, but that really took off. Over 1 million copies, I understand, right?
Yes, we've been very blessed, Doug, and we're very pleased at the results. And we're launching the 5th edition of QBQ today. So it's the best edition yet. It's on the market, and it all started back in 2001 when we wrote this book on personal accountability, and it just, like you said, it did take off. So we're doing well.
I think personal accountability, you hear that term a lot, particularly in the sports world, be accountable for whatever you do on the field, but it applies everywhere, doesn't it?
Well, it really does, and that's why we've just recently added another book to our line called Raising Accountable Kids, because accountability begins at home. People lament about society, and society doesn't really support the value of personal responsibility. It's more about entitlement and victim thinking, but if we want to change that world, we really need to start it in the family. So, as I've said to others, we need to get mom and dad practicing accountability. I always laugh because parents think that Raising Accountable Kids book is for their children. No, it's for mom and dad, so mom and dad can be better parents. Yeah. QBQ, the original book, QBQ, is really for anybody. It's just about getting rid of victim thinking and finger pointing and blaming and asking better questions. We call them the question behind the question. The QBQ is what can I do today to serve? How can I contribute? What can I do to make a difference? Instead of asking some lousy questions that we can cover here that take me to victim thinking, procrastination, and blame.
Well, where do you think that came from, that whole, you hear a lot about it now, maybe the last 5-10 years, poor me, or the victim thinking like you call it. I grew up not that long ago, but, my parents wouldn't let me get away with that, and one of my friends' parents would. Something turned somewhere. I'm not sure what happened. Do we know?
I don't know how old you are, Doug. I was born in 1958.
A little bit younger, not much, but a few years after, but yeah.
A little younger? Okay. So, maybe we're in our 50s, and all I know is blame and whining and complaining has always existed. But what seems to have changed today is not only the generation we raised up thinking they get a trophy for just showing up. Some of the younger people I've found will say, but the world is more complicated. You don't understand, older people. It's too complicated to just be accountable. I think that when I just pause and say, okay, this is not going well. What can I do to be different? What can I do to be more effective? How can I contribute? What can I do to make a difference? I think those good questions cut through all the clutter of society and make me stand out compared to what's going on in the world. Because I actually read an article recently where some millennials were saying, the world is too complicated nowadays. It's different. It's changed. Well, some things never change. And I think the principle of ownership and responsibility are still good, and they still work.
Yeah, well, another reason, my parents and my friends' parents, they all pretty much grew up, if not in the Depression. My parents did. They were a little older when they had us, and or right after that. Talk about complicated world. That was no picnic back then. So they knew what it was like to come up in a tough world.
Well, you're right. And the truth is, very few of us today have to go out and garden or get eggs from underneath the chickens that we've cared for.
Right.
We're pretty spoiled in America, to be honest. I don't know if that contributes to the entitlement thinking that exists today. Sometimes people come on the job and 2 weeks later expect to be the boss. I don't know where all of this has come from, but I instead of trying to understand where it came from, I think it's good just to say, okay, can I learn different ways of thinking? And yes, that's what QBQ and QBQ.com is all about. We're teaching people how to take a stand and be responsible. If you make a mistake, say, I own it. I made the mistake, but here's what I learned from it. What can I do to move forward today? That's a good question. We call it the question behind the question.
You have a chapter in the book I thought was interesting. Don't ask the question why. I guess there are times when you should ask it, but a lot of people ask that too much, I guess, right?
It's like we say, if it's just gathering information, that's different. But if it's, why is this happening to me? Why don't I ever get a break? Why don't people do more for me? Then that's just victim thinking.
Yeah.
And the problem with victim thinking, Doug, really, when I fall into that trap of wallowing in victim thinking and whining, I'm not really serving anybody. I'm not adding value. I'm not even serving myself. How am I going to learn, grow, and change if I'm playing the victim? So we're on a bit of a mission here to just work on taking this message of accountability and bringing it home to the families, bringing it to the workplace, and just cutting through the clutter of the world, like I say, and saying, okay, I own it. What can I do to change?
And this particular book, which, again, is a kind of a companion book to the QBQ book, is the workbook. Talk a little bit about what you hope people will do with this particular book.
Sure, Doug, thanks. QBQ Inc., our company, sells a comprehensive QBQ training program for corporations on how to bring personal accountability to the workplace, but we knew there was a gap. We knew there was a gap when it came to the individual reader. You're browsing at Barnes & Noble or you're on Amazon and you buy QBQ and you read it and you think, okay, that was good, but now I need to go further with it. How do I go deeper with it? And we knew that was a gap, so we created this workbook. My daughter, Kristen, who has a master's in curriculum design and works with me and has been out speaking for 8 years on personal accountability. She's only 34. She did most of the work, and it's just a very hands-on, practical tool for taking the QBQ concept, breaking it down, looking at all the facets, putting it back together, and taking it home with me so I can really practice it as a mom, as a dad, as a friend, as a neighbor, in my church, wherever I am, and in the workplace. So the QBQ Workbook, that's the title, pretty creative, huh, is just a tool to help us apply the QBQ message. Yeah, the QBQ Workbook, that's what we decided to title it, because we couldn't figure out what else we're going to call it.
Says it all in the title.
Says it all.
And it's one of those books you want people to write in. Most books you don't want people to write in, but this one you do, right? It has questions and answers.
Yes, we do. There's all kinds of space to work through exercises and answer questions and do some real strong self-reflection. It can be used with couples. It can be used in small groups. It's just a really good tool, the QBQ Workbook.
Well, John, great to talk with you. Again, doing great work with the whole organization, QBQ. And give out that website one more time. People get more information about the book.
Well, sure. Thank you, Doug. QBQ.com. Just come visit us. And, of course, people can then follow us on Twitter and Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram and all those things nowadays. But my parting message would be, let's put away the blame. Let's stop the blame game. Let's put away the victim thinking, and let's rise above and just practice personal responsibility. And the QBQ is a good tool to help us do that.
Great. John G. Miller has been our guest, also a co-author with his daughter, Kristen Miller. And, John, great to talk with you. Hopefully we can do it again. Thanks for being with us.
Anytime, Doug. Thank you.
I'm Stan Brock. 30 years ago, I formed Remote Area Medical to help people overseas. But then we found generations of families in America isolated by poverty from the health care they need. Together, we can take dental, vision, and medical help to 1 million adults and their kids, right here at home in the United States of America.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or DougMilesMedia.com.